Vernon Hills Park District Board meeting for April 23rd, 2015. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Kessler. Commissioner Robbins.
Here.
Commissioner Dorhofer.
Here.
Commissioner Moline. President Baloo.
Present. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first item this evening is the omnibus vote agenda. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and are non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. A separate vote on any one item is desired. It will be pulled from the omnibus vote agenda and voted on separately. Items on this evening's agenda are A, minutes of the special board meeting of March 19, 2015. B, minutes of the regular board meeting of March 19, 2015. C, minutes of the closed session meeting of March 19, 2015. And D, payables West Granger and payroll through April 23rd, 2015 in the amount of $623,896.67. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Robbins.
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhofer.
Yes.
President Baloo.
Yes. Okay, first item is the welcome to visitors and guests public comment period for items not under the agenda. If anyone would like to come up and speak, please do so now. Please give us your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Chet Liss. I live at 515 West Torrey Pines Way in Greg's Landing in Vernon Hills. And I came tonight to speak on the maintenance required for the Torrey Pines Park. Recently, 8 of the diseased trees were cut down in Torrey Pines Park. I have some photos of the trees. So, of course, those are photos of the tree stumps. They were very large trees. And I am told that the tree stumps and the roots are to be ground down sometime in May. What my request is that as soon as the stumps get ground down, that you replace those 8 trees. I do have a suggestion in terms of what trees to put in the area, okay? And I will pass out copies of the sketch that I have made. So I have marked the 8 trees with numbers 1 through 8, and I've also identified what my recommendation is on the trees. As you notice in slots 1, 2, 3, I'm recommending Colorado blue spruce trees. They are very beautiful trees, very hardy. They'll last our lifetime. Then in slot number 4, to give some variety, I asked to put in a flowering dogwood. Springtime, we have some flowers. In slot number 6, a honey locust. Again, honey locust is a nice, tall tree. Does not give a lot of shade, so the grass will grow. Item number 7, a crimson king maple, red leaves, again, to add variety and color. And then slot number 8, I picked a Kentucky coffee tree. Okay, I recommended that one. It's a very beautiful tree. We have several of them in Greg's Landing along Greg's Parkway. Again, it adds a variety. You can look it up on the internet and see what it looks like. Very nice tree. So again, I am asking that as soon as the tree stumps be put down, because the park looks bare now with 8 trees that were very large. You can imagine how bare it looks. To add those trees as soon as possible, May, June of this year. Now, in addition to the trees, the grass at the park is in extremely poor shape. the poor shape of the grass is caused by several things. One, when the trees were cut down, a lot of heavy equipment came in there and just dug into the turf. And at that time when they did the work, the ground was not frozen. So it was muddy, trucks dug into the dirt. In addition to that, very frequently, people who visit the park, they're not supposed to do it, but they do it. They park not only on the driveway and block the sidewalk, but they also park beyond the driveway. You could see one of those pictures, how damaged it is around the driveway. So a lot of that is caused by people who visit the park. In bad weather, they just dig right into the mud. So I'm asking that as soon as the trees get planted, as soon as the heavy equipment is finished in the area, that the new sod be put down pretty much almost at full length of that stretch, which is the Mundline Sewer Access Road. And then next, I mentioned the cars parking on the driveway and on the grass. Now, this has been a problem for all the years. However, it was never addressed, and it should be addressed. The Vernon Hills ordinance states that no cars shall park on the driveway and block the sidewalk. The cars are blocking the sidewalk. The Torrey Pines Park, as a lot of you know, was intended to be a walk-in park. The local residents, mainly St. Andrews, requested a local park where the families could come with their strollers, kids could come to tricycles and bikes. When those cars illegally park on the driveway, it blocks the driveway, and the people, the kids, the mothers must walk around the cars, must walk on the street, must walk in the mud. So I am requesting that the park, along with the police department, now enforce the village ordinance, which is no parking on the driveway blocking the sidewalk. Since a lot of people may not be aware of the ordinance, or if they are aware of it, they just ignore it, they're just oblivious to it, I'm requesting that work with the police department in the village and put up a sign right at the driveway. If you look at the sketch I put down there, I did identify a sign. And that sign would say, no parking on the driveway or grass. Again, it's a village ordinance, but put the sign up there because as the police, I'm asking you to have the police enforce it. And if you don't, the residents will. So that the people, when they start seeing the police, they say, gee, I didn't know we could not park on the driveway. The sign is there, it again reminds them, no parking on the driveway, and no parking on the grass, because you could see the damage to the turf that was done. I thank you.
And Chet, real quick, you don't think they can hear me? Really? Beck, you can't hear me? Never had that problem. Yeah, the trees you picked are all great trees. That shouldn't be a problem. What I would recommend, if Executive Director Fougeroux and Mike could meet you out there someday.
Anytime you want.
The enforcement piece we get, that isn't us, but we'll certainly have a conversation with the village about it. But yeah, if you could meet, I'll have Jeff get in touch with you, and the three of you can meet out there and work through logistics. I know that the timing of the planning, you know, that you're gonna want it sooner than maybe we can do it, but let's get together and figure it out. But yeah, the trees, great choices.
Okay. In terms of enforcement on the driveway, I am asking that you work with the village to get the sign put up, because in terms of enforcement, once that sign is up, you know, the residents will notify the police department, hey, they're illegally parked on the driveway.
Mike, go ahead.
Well, in regards to this, this little concrete parking stall.
It's not a parking stall, it's a
Well,
driveway.
let's just call it that. Look, I'll talk with the village and see if we can just get it removed. It's just concrete, comes out easy.
It would be great. We have tried, again, that's the Mundline Sewer Access Road. and those driveways are all over. And at the time, Mundelein said, no, they wanted that path up there. Now, maybe they changed their mind, it'd be great. I mean, if you could, yeah, remove the driveway, you know, and maybe tell them remove all the rest of the driveways that are there. I have never seen a Mundelein sewer truck come, never.
Chet, how about I give you a call tomorrow? I've got your number, and we can try to meet out there. I'm not in the office tomorrow, but early next week, and our park superintendent, Mike Mormon, and I will meet you out there, and we'll walk it. I think as Commissioner Dorhofer alluded to, I think your tree species are spot on. We're trying to do a little bit more variety in our parks. The turf damage, that was a little combination of both the village and us getting in there to remove those ash trees. So we'll work with you on this. We'll try to expedite it as best we can.
Okay, thank you.
Knowing that you're a concerned neighbor.
Thank you.
You've done a lot. We know that you've done a lot for that park personally too, so appreciate that.
You know, a lot of people may not be aware of it, some of the commissioners may not be aware of it, but I was very instrumental, and I see you're designing a park here. I was extremely instrumental in the design of the Torrey Pines Park, and I'm very proud of what we did. I mean, people come to the park and they say, this is the nicest looking park they've ever seen.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, let's try to make some people happy and move along here. We're gonna move up to new business number 8, which is the Deer Path Park presentation. So I would like to invite Amy Lamberti to the podium, please, to give us an update on the Kids Castle project, please.
Make him wait. He's gotta go home and do homework.
So for anyone I have not met, I'm Amy Lamberti, and I was chosen as the community member to help spearhead the redesign of the Kids Castle. And I just want to, first of all, tell you that we have some special guests in the audience tonight, and you'll see some little faces who are passionate about this project, not because it's not me, it's them, because that's their future park. And so when I was starting to talk about, oh, well, you know, should we have the kids come? I'm like, yes, this is their park, and they need to see how this is unfolding from the very beginning. So the magazines that we've been given to look through have popsicle stains on them and Kool-Aid dripped on them, and pages are torn, and that's because they are the voice behind this future park. And so I want to also say thank you for Torrey Pine, because these kids go there all the time and love it. So thank you for your hard work, because it has definitely paid off. And then we also have some moms in the audience, because as we've been having play dates, there's been a lot of conversation about what do we see in this park for our kids' future. And we want this to be a place where they go to. And we have no intentions of moving anytime soon, so we want to be vested in this park. One of the parents, Ariel Wilcox, couldn't be here tonight, so she had asked me to read a little write-up that she said. I am sorry that I could not come to participate in tonight's meeting, but I really appreciate that you're willing to hear out our thoughts and comments. Kids Castle is a jewel in our town, and I know we will do a wonderful job recreating another imaginative play place for the children of Vernon Hills. There are a lot of great minds that are working on this, so I'll quickly just add my 2 cents. And if she were here, it probably would have been quickly. So, Kids Castle is one park where older children will still go and play. They'll meet friends there, they'll ride bikes there, and they have play dates there. We have many parks in Vernon Hills where small children will find a place to play, but only one park where the older kids still continue to have fun. We need to look at how we use this park and make certain that we include this into our new plans. For sure, if there is not a place for older elementary and middle school kids to play, we will be leaving a void. In my experience, the big kids use this park by playing tag, hide and go seek, chasing each other, and going all around different kinds of obstacles. You cannot see every place in the park from any given spot, and the kids like to play hide and seek. There are levels and obstacles and climbing and covered slides for hiding. It's dark and natural, and it fits its surroundings. It's not red and yellow and blue, kind of like that kiddie park is. This is how our family uses Kids Castle, and I hope that the new plans create just another space like this that is inviting for my 8- and 9-year-old boys and their friends to go play. The Castle Park is a crown to our town. So one of the things she said to her children, as we were coming to this, she said, you know, they're gonna go and talk about Kids Castle. Is there any last comments that you wanna say? And one of the little boys said, don't tear it down. You know, it's such a beautiful park that we like to go to, but we know it's coming down. But one of the things that we wanna keep within this park is those neutral colors. And as I've been working with Jeff and Mike and the designers through the team, they've really been hearing us out on that, and I appreciate that. Because you can see from the blueprints that we'll look at shortly, it's not that park with the red and the yellow and the green and the bright colors, which is key for the residents in that area. One of the other things that we were really liking are the tall slides, which I know that the board has also said, we want those tall slides. So we thank you for that and the kids as well. And I thought it might be fun just to let the kids come up and each share one thing that they think is important, that they would like to validate with the board, what they want to see. And I also will say that I do see that in the design. So if you guys want to come up, tell them your name and one thing that you guys have said to me.
I'm Dylan, and I really want to be able to just climb on everything and just jump and run around.
My name is Lucy, and what I wanted. My name is Lucy, and what I want is in Castle Park is a zip line because the water doesn't last that much because in winter it's frozen and the zip line's probably not going to be frozen.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Smith, and I would like to see in Castle Park that the space is used correctly, like not like have a little thing here and then another thing there that's little. You should put those together and not have them like far apart to run to.
Hi, my name is Izzy, and I want at the new park a teeter-totter.
Hi, my name is Haley, and at the new park I want huge slides.
Hi, my name's Tommy, and I don't really want neutral colors. I kind of want dark colors so we can mostly play hide and seek and everything.
Thank you all.
So there's the voice of the real people who will be playing. So one of the things though that I think we might still need to kind of fit into the plans is more for hide and go seek and kind of playing with the chase and the jumping off of it. I know they do have some designs with the rocks, and I was talking to Jeff about this, and not necessarily real rocks, but the plastic kind of rocks where they can still find that, the park is used for Nerf gun wars, for example. Kids go out there with their Nerf guns and they're running all over the place and they're hiding up in the castles and they're shooting in the bridges, and that's something that makes it unique. And we know that this park will continue to have that unique piece to it because of the community involvement. So thank you for your support with it. Anything that the moms want to bring up that we have not talked about? Dads? No? Okay. So that's it from our part. Anything that you have question-wise?
Appreciate you bringing the kids, so always like to hear their ideas.
Right.
Especially the big slides.
Exactly. Validates the adults' passion too, right? Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Jeff? What's Jeff saying?
I'll have some thoughts at the tail end.
Okay,
Thanks, Amy.
you got it.
You got one? While he's here, I'd like to bring Rick Emery up to the podium to say hello, because Rick was the driving force behind Kids Castle way back when. It was a long time ago, but and
Your hair wasn't gray back then, was it?
I think the project did.
Thank you, Dave. I'd like to thank Jeff for inviting me here. Hard to believe, but it was 20 years ago that I came to the Park District Board meeting and asked him to replace the old spaceship there. And it took a little bit to get the old park board online, but after we got going, Gene Schwartz was the other general contractor with me on that. And I dug out a couple of interesting little factoids here. We started in 1995, and we had our design day about 6 months later, in, well, actually, it was a little longer, in October, there were 1,800 kids at Hawthorne that got in the gym and talked to the designer and things like that. And the committee at that point was 38 residents from the village, just like you all are doing here. And they spent a total of 5,800 planning hours to put Kids Castle together back then. And I see some familiar faces that were around at that point. They did do some fundraising. They raised just shy of $140,000. They had $30,000 in donated materials and $50,000 in donated services that this group of 38 and others went out and coerced people into helping with. And then on Monday, May 26, 1997, that's when construction actually began. We started drilling the holes, and it was 15 hours a day, straight through the week. An incredible amount of people. I had to dig back and find there was 2,382 Vernon Hills residents or local people that volunteered. And I don't remember who did this, but somebody kept track. There was 13,484 man-hours put into building that playground at that time. It was completed on June 1st, 1997, certified for officially for use, and in 1998 it won the Governor's Hometown Award. So back then it was a big deal. I couldn't believe it was 20 years ago, but there were just shy of 20,000 man-hours donated by people from the village and others to help us build that playground. And it all goes back to the volunteers. The park district staff, the village staff from Public Works and Maintenance were instrumental in helping us back then. And it was a big deal. My kids were like this size. They're all out of college. So I applaud you. I applaud the Park District Board for being behind this, and I think it'll be a great project.
Well,
Thank
I'd like
you.
to thank you because I know how many hours because I was there.
You were there. Dave was there.
When you put in all the time, and I know it was a big effort on your guys' part to do it, and it turned out to be great. So
Truly a labor of love, and it brings a lot of neighbors together and people together. And I live on the other side of the park, and so I can just see the walkway there, and it amazes me how many people go to Kids Castle still. It's incredible. So best of luck. Thank you. Pass the torch to the new generation. Thank you for having me.
all right, thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Okay, the next step, I invite Rick Peterman to the podium to show us what you brought tonight, Rick.
Thank you. I'm Rick Biederman from New Toys Leisure Products, and I thank the board and I thank Jeff for the opportunity, Mike and his staff from the Park Department for inviting us to put proposals together for the playground. I'm very, very sensitive to the Robert Leathers playgrounds that have gone up throughout many different areas, and I have to say, in the 34 years I've been doing this, you're the first one I've ever heard say a positive thing about removing an older one and replacing it with something else. Usually it's a very, very difficult task to want to get rid of something that's been there for so long. But with all of the new guidelines and different things that have to be enforced, it's going to be a very, very positive change. And the process that the board and the administration is going through it's a fun process, including the kids and all the volunteers, and it's just really neat to see everybody's input. And that's how it started. We got an initial list from Mike and Jeff and said, here are the things we'd like to see. I went out and looked at the old structure to see what was there and how do we try to duplicate as much as possible and keep the same approach that's gone on here. And that's when we came back with design number one, and then Mike and Jeff and I met and made some revisions to it at that point, and we're into about revision 2 or 3 now. So let me just kind of walk through. I don't know if I can remove this or not. Well, I don't need to talk loud enough.
Yeah, you can pull it off. Right?
And everybody, I don't need it, I'll talk loud
needs to hear you as well.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. That's probably good enough. Yeah, that's fine. What we basically did here in, I called them, we had originally come back with 3 options, option 1, option 2, and option 3. And I think everyone had met and said, here's one we like, but we want to tweak it and make some changes. And Mike and I met and made some changes. So what I did was I took option, I don't even remember what it was, Mike. Was it 1, 2, or 3? I don't even remember. But I readdressed them and called them option A and B now. And what we basically have here is this was basically the one that was selected with some modifications. And what we did, we added a 12-foot turbo twister slide. I think on the initial design, we had 2 slide winder slides, which were both open slides. This one here is an enclosed one, as you can see. Both of these are off of a 12-foot high deck. I heard the young man say over there he wants to jump, but I don't want to see you jump off that 12-foot high deck, believe me. We purposely put roofs on 12-foot high decks for that reason. So they can't climb internally and get over the top and come flying down off the top. So we do look at those kinds of things too. The other issue is at 12-foot high platforms, we can only put slides. You will not have climbers go up to 12-foot high. You have climbers that go up to 6, and then there's like a little submarine port that leads you up into the higher deck there. So, a couple other things in this particular design, and I don't know how much everybody in here has talked about them, but play value is so important. Besides the look, you want to have things on here. What do kids like? Kids like things they haven't seen, things that aren't in other parks, in every other park. They want something different. You know, the castle at the park is still popular because there isn't another one. So the look is important, but you don't just want to look, you want something that they're going to enjoy while they're out there too. So the high slides, obviously, and I know the board loves high slides, and we do have to get some pictures off of that when it gets completed. But we've got some new components, you know, some zigzag climbers, climb up, climb down. When we design these, we have to keep accessibility in mind also. When we design, we have to have so many components that are at grade level for children in wheelchair, crutches, walkers, and things of that nature. We have to have so many components that are above ground also. There's some data that we have to follow that allows us to do that. So as you can see, we've got an enclosed deck here at 12 feet. We've got a 6-foot deck here, climbers leading up, ground level climbers over here. We've got I put some trees on this one. We've got a little different castle look over here. And then if you've never been on a roller slide, it's probably the best adult toy ever made. Not a fast slide, but fun. Bump, 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 thump, thump down. And you won't go down on your stomach more than once. But it is a fun slide. Why don't we flip that? This is basically the same design we're looking at. And as we lead up into the castle, so to speak, we've got a ramp that leads over here. We've got some accessibility over to that deck there. And then it starts to get higher over here, and it gets much higher over in here too. Go ahead and hit that next slide. It might be a little easier to look at this one. Number 2. Okay, this is kind of the reverse view. This is really what we're looking at here too. It's the same thing. This might be easier. Here's your roller slide. We've got a conical climber over here, which is an inclined, kind of a rock wall. You've got little rock pegs to stand on and climb up there. We've got horizontal ladders, upper body development. We've got chain ladders. You've got ramps that lead across, back and forth. We've got the castle look up there in the 6-foot-high deck. There's also a deck below it with some castle panels. Vertical ascents. There's also a 6-foot-high slide coming off of that deck there. When you create these, you want to create so many ways up, so many ways down. We don't want them spending too much time in one area. We want them moving. We want them moving all the time. Go ahead and hit the next slide. Well, there you can see your higher slides. There's the turbo twister slide there. That'll sleep about 16 homeless people on a good weekend. The open one, lots of fun. Very, very fast slides. Go ahead and hit the next one. This is the 2 to 5-year-old playground. When we design for 2 to 5, we design for 5 to 12. With the castle, the way it's designed, the smaller kids are going to use that just as well. But again, you're always going to have mom who doesn't want someone to go on the bigger one, so we've got to have something over here for the smaller kids. We've got a transfer point leading up to a 4-foot-high deck. The 4-foot-high deck has a double slide coming off. We've got the castle look. We've got bongo panels at grade level. We've got a little walkout balcony area that's got the castle approach to it also. Go ahead, one more time. Here's kind of an overall picture of what we're thinking. And I know we talked about adding some log benches also, and the log benches are kind of neat. There are some in option B. The log benches would fit here. They'd fit in the play area also. This is what's called a topsy-turvy spinner. It's basically a stand-on merry-go-round that rotates around, and you have very tightly twisted cables that you hold onto as you glide around. Swings in the back. We've got 4 belt swings. We've got 2 ADA accessible swings, and then we've got 2 tot swings on there also. What am I missing? Anything? And then a couple spring animals, 2 or 3, a bobble rider, 2-sided bobble rider. Questions on that one?
What ground cover are you planning on using?
Jeff, do you want to address that? I believe they're planning on using pour-in-place surfacing, which is the rubber surfacing that very similar to a running track of a high school, but of course in thicker depth. On a playground of this nature, your rubber surfacing underneath the swings will be 4 inches thick. And in other areas, it may only be 2.5 inches.
The rubber mulch at the Torrey Pines Park has worked very well.
Other questions?
We were excited to, originally one of the plans had just the 2 open slides, but getting different feedback from the community, we also liked one that was open and one that was the closed side wider, so I'm glad to see that the plan had 2 of the different style slides on that.
I've got a 5-year-old granddaughter who wants no part of the smaller kids' playgrounds. She's up in a 12-foot-high turbo twister slide the minute you turn your back, and no fear whatsoever.
The other thing is with them playing hide and go seek, that's another hiding spot, is in that slide. So that was the other thing they liked about having the closed slide.
Now, I know colors were something you mentioned earlier. The colors shown here are our acorn color and our, I don't want to say pine green, it's the, I'm drawing a blank. It's not the pine green. It's acorn and, I'm going to have to look. Look in the back.
So I got a question for the kids. What do you see up there that you don't like? Yeah. What? Go ahead. Yeah, yell it out.
Here, come on up here and use the microphone.
Come on.
You want to point at it?
Tell us what you don't like. What do you see?
I don't really like the spacing on it.
I agree with you. I think that's one of the attractions of Kids Castle. And I know from a design standpoint, this is A, a nightmare, and B, probably not the best Derma way to do things. But one of the things about Kids Castle is it's integrated. You go from small to big, and that's good and that's bad. You know, the good part is it becomes much more massive, it flows better. The problem is that, as you said, your 5-year-old daughter who's supposed to be over here suddenly finds her way over to here, and we really don't want that to happen. And if she does make a break, we want the parents to see it sooner, but I agree with you. It's gotta be, okay, what else don't we like?
I don't like the log benches. How does that, like, I don't get how that has to go with the castle, because doesn't logs kind of...
Okay, so turn around, ask him.
Can you please speak? Because these are still very rough draft, Charlie.
Absolutely.
So he's here to listen to what you say. So what do you think would be a better bench? Do you just want a plain old bench, or do you think, what would fit the theme for Castle? If you had to turn it into a bench, what would that look like?
Maybe something like,
How about horses? I like horses.
you could put...
Oh, like a throne.
Yeah, like a
Your mom and I
throne.
could sit on a throne and watch you guys play.
You do enough of that around the neighborhood, you don't need any more.
Yeah. There we
You
go.
do way too much of that at home already.
I disagree on that one.
You're right.
But I just wouldn't put cushions on that, because you get wet, like, you can't
So
dry
we
it
can't put
out.
cushions on the throne, she said.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So like, if I were to run through it, would I be able to go, like, keep running, or would I have to slow down and turn all different directions?
It's a good question. Did everybody hear his question? Can he freely move throughout the structure? As you go up the ramps, some of the ramps are going to have enclosures on them for children in wheelchairs, so that when they go up there, the chair doesn't fall off of a particular deck. But as you go through here, there are openings like you see here, and that opening would have a little piece of, we call it permaline, sticking up, that creates an opening, but keeps a chair from falling off, is what it does. So in answering your question, yes, you're going to have movement throughout there. Not 100%. You may come to a dead end, but it's basically got ways to get on and off throughout.
So you're not gonna have the movement you have right now at Kids Castle. And that's because in 20 years, we've learned a lot about our society, we've learned a lot about ourselves, and we don't wanna exclude anybody from using this. And to be a little more inclusive to everybody in our community, we're gonna have to do some things that may not have the free-flowing and tightness of a Kids Castle. And that's just, it's better for the community, and those are some of the tough decisions we have to make at times.
It's exciting to me to hear people talk, especially adults, about enclosed spaces. It's usually just the opposite. We don't want enclosed spaces. We want it open. We want everybody to see what's going on. And it excites me. And one of the things with Kid Castle is the tight-knit. Way back when, in 20 years ago, they didn't have as many components. There were more decks, a lot of tunnels probably, and little crawl-through spaces where you could hide out. Now, we could do more of that if you wanted to, but that's entirely up to the committee. I mean, we could take the 2 to 5 out and condense it with the other one, call it a 2 to 12-year-old playground, and include it in there. So, yeah, that could be done also.
I was wondering, like, what is that, like, white stuff? Like, on the ground?
This here?
Yeah.
Good question. That, I believe, the architect, Mr. Brousseau, in his concept, just his idea initially, I think was just creating a space for moms and dads to hang out while the kids were playing. And I don't think that's anything final at this point.
like in between the swings and like all the different spots, could you put like a path that you could loop around? So like in between the kitty stuff and the animals and the main structure, could you like make a loop around that so you could ride, like you could more ride your bike, or people who just like to take a walk could walk around?
Now, keep in mind, I don't know if you can picture this, this is actually all rubber surfacing, the tan stuff. That's all rubber, okay? I don't think we want to mix bikes with kids playing. I think it creates too many problems with a moving object and kids running around. And trying to keep concrete areas away from this is probably a good idea too. This is easily run on. I mean, it's actually designed for that with tracks. So,
Yeah, you could do some colored, different colors
Yes.
for,
Good
just
point.
to differentiate that area. That's-
Exactly. And in following up with his question, this doesn't have, this is shown as all one color, but these can be multiple colors. You could do a blue pathway around, and, you know, we did one in Huntley a few years ago, and there was a local lady who was an artist, and she painted all kinds of objects on the rubber when it was completed, and they turned out really neat. Another question?
I was thinking that maybe in like that open space right there, maybe like you could put some picnic benches. So like if people wanted to come in and like have a little snack.
Great idea. I'm sure Mike and his staff have got some thoughts on picnic tables and things of that nature in a park of this size. I'll get you a catalog, Mike.
Is the grass the color you wanted?
The big
Grass?
kids are coming up now.
Big
Grass
coming
the
up.
No, actually, it's not the grass.
Okay.
Look in the back, look all the way in the back of that
I don't think
redwood.
there was anything in the back of that.
Got a big kid now.
I'm sorry.
One of the things that the kids of all ages seem to really like about,
Give your name.
oh, sorry, I'm
and
Jennifer
you have to give
Smith.
your address.
I'm at 16 Cherokee, close to Dave. One of the things that the kids of all ages really like about Castle Park are the bridges and the sort of connections from high to high. So they run across the bridge and they peer down, like even the really little ones, and the bouncy bridges. Is there a way to have, instead of one tall castle, could we have two of those tall and connections to it? Like, I have to be honest, I went down to the new Millennium Park.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
My gosh.
You're not
I
getting
mean,
that.
we're not getting that,
No.
but part of what I love, like the kids all love running across and peering down at their parents through, up high. And that's one of the things they love about Castle Park, is like the top part where, they can stand and play hide and go seek and look down. And little kids can do that too. So is there a way to have, instead of just one tower and one tiny tower, two big towers? I mean, I know I'm adding money.
The problem with connecting at a 12-foot height, it's very difficult from a safety standpoint.
What about the 6-foot height?
Yeah, you could do it at 6. That's not a problem. There's numerous ways to connect at 6 foot, and yeah, you could. I mean, we could extend this tower up and bring it across, with a connection. Absolutely.
Or add more towers.
Yeah.
Can we have more towers?
Should we have higher taxes?
No. Yeah, but here's.
You're asking a question, I'm gonna ask you too.
My
Depends how
point
much
is, we
money you
want
raise.
this place to be where they come and they bring the revenue to the town, because they go to Portillo's, and they stop, they go to Target shopping, because they make a day of it to come to Kids Castle.
I mean, people do. We do
Yeah.
that all the time as moms.
Yeah.
Like, we head out
Go
to
to
Highland
different-
Park, and we pack a whole day in.
So we want it to be a park where, yes, we know our taxes are
And
paying
we go
for
to
this park.
Gurnee on trips.
And then while we're there, we stop at Starbucks, and then we go and stop at McDonald's.
And the village knows that too, and that's why they're gonna be partially helping us to fund this.
Yeah.
Problem is that when you get to the park district side, the village sees that, we don't. So that's why they're gonna participate, and we appreciate immensely their participation.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have, we've got a budget, we gotta stay within it, and, you know, unfortunately, we'd love to build Millennium Park. But I'm thinking that's probably not gonna happen.
No, but the aspects of Millennium Park where it's tall and the parents are down below and the kids are on the high part, that part, the kids, you should see their faces. It's like something they've never done before.
We toured Millennium Park.
We did.
It was-
We've been there, done that.
We're not getting it.
Back in Daily Park, yes.
Yes, Maggie Gator.
We're still
Oh,
not
landscape, yeah.
I can send more candy.
Did you get some good feedback? of how we
Absolutely.
can alter that? And I know we got
Absolutely.
other options still to look at.
Jeff, did you want to preface option B?
Sure, so, this was there was originally a design that was presented to the board a month or so ago about looking at doing a spray ground, a significant spray ground just to the south of Kids Castle. And the cost came back pretty excessive with that. And actually, in just conversations that I've had with Amy over the last month and just kind of vetting through some of, when Lucy came in and said, you know, I'd rather have more play equipment than spray equipment. And, you know, again, I think as adults, we tend to think we've got all the right answers, and really what Rick was saying earlier about, you know, focusing on play, and that's what his company does, and a lot of us forget that. And so the board, when I polled them, was, you know, the consensus was to eliminate the spray area and put more play area. So what we've gone back to Rick to do, I know Amy, we talked about rocks, adding boulders, at making, you know, just putting some other additional amenities in there that are gonna be a little bit more creative. And so that's what's kind of prefaced this next option. Again, I think as Commissioner Durhofer alluded to is, you know, we have a budget on this, and this is a master plan of Deer Path Park. This is one, you know, amenity of the plan. It's a significant part of the plan, but either way, we've got to be, you know, responsive to that as well in what we can do. And I'll say this, because the overall master plan, and Joe Brousseau, who's our architect, could not be here tonight, but our budget is about $800,000 on this. We're going to be applying for a grant as well, and we're hoping to get about $400,000. But I think many of you know what's going on in the state right now, so we don't have a lot of confidence that may be produced. So some things will be scaled back, but. For the sake of this, we're focusing tonight on Kids Castle. Kids Castle will happen regardless of whether the grant, you know, comes to fruition or not. So, Rick, you want to take it then?
Thanks, Jeff. When we had talked, as Jeff had indicated, would be to add some additional things to the original option, make some modifications. What else can we do to enhance the look and the approach? Go ahead and hit that one more time. Go ahead, one more. Keep going. Keep going. All right, here's option B, which is, I'll show you the back side of that poster, which has that on there. And we have a lot of the same concept of option A, with the exception of the big tower, as you can see. The big tower is totally enclosed castle from ground level all the way through the top, with the top a little more castle-y looking too than the original one, which had more of the steel enclosures up at the top. That was one change. The dragon, I know there was talk of, is there a dragon out there now or something? I don't know the history on it, but we have actually done this dragon at other parks. And what it is, it's a bent pipe. We call that our Evo system, and our Evo system is a climber, as you can see, a hemisphere climber in the back with some O-rings attached to it, and it still becomes part of the modular system because it's connectable to the original piece. And again, it's basically an aesthetic is all it is. But it's something that jumps out at you, kind of grabs you as you drive by and see it. The, go ahead and flip it one more time. Oh, there's your log. Go back, I'm sorry. There you can see what your log benches look like. The log benches are actually what we call a GFRC material. It's the same material that our rocks are made out of. So it's not a log bench. It's a glass reinforced fiberglass material that has a log look to it. We have a lot of natural type elements that are all GFRC materials. Go ahead and hit it one more time. There's just kind of the entryway. I used the double wide entryway, but because of the size of this deck, we have to have a post supporting that upper level. So the double wide ramp, we'd have to split left or right as you go up there. If the top level weren't there, that middle post wouldn't have to be there, but we do have to have it for structural purposes in that design. But you can still get a wheelchair in between the left and right. It's just like having two ramps side by side. I wanted to see if the...
Joe, couldn't you do an arch or something there? Rick, I'm sorry, Jesus, Rick. Rick, couldn't you do an arch or something? Side to side, peek it at that, hold it up?
You mean
Well, either an
arch entry? Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
That would open that up and give you...
Actually,
Diagonal.
in the past, these were chains also, which made it look more like a drawbridge.
Right.
So that could be done, and that's very easily
I'm
done.
talking about for the post, get rid of that post.
Oh, the post.
Get rid of the support column and go side to side, peaking at the top.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Mm-hmm.
Goalpost, either a goalpost look or aesthetically, or just an arch.
Yeah.
That peak right there, at that, 'cause I'm assuming that the point where the post is your
Yeah.
road.
Yeah, if it were just underneath
So if it
supporting the
was
deck.
an arch like this, and sat on the arch is gonna be just as strong as that. Arch can come down on both sides of the drawbridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something we could look at.
Open
That's
it up
not,
a little bit.
It would actually make the drawbridge look like the opening to a castle.
Right.
mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead and flip it one more time, 'cause you can't see the rock in here. Okay, there's the back view, and we put a pinnacle climber in here, which has the chain attached to it, and then there are some pods that connect it to the entire system also. I think the bigger overall drawing in a second will show it. But again, you can see the panels from top to bottom all the way through. Go ahead and flip it one more time. There's another view of it. See the rock. Go ahead. Okay, here's the overall picture. There's the same thing there. Now, what's different about this than option A? Well, you've got a log tunnel here. We enhanced the smaller kid structure a little more. We put the dragon in there. We enclosed the large deck castle tower. We put the log benches in. There's some acorn seats in here too. And, oh, I'm probably missing a few things, but questions on option B? Yes, sir. Want to come up?
So I just wanted to say that I feel like the dragon is very pointless because, as you said, that it's decoration, and everyone's complaining that the budget is very low. And when you're spending money on the decorations instead of like the main thing that we're trying to accomplish is like a park, I think that we should spend more time on the actual park instead of the decorations that will go around it.
Great point.
Okay, so just to clarify something here.
Want his
The
address
budget
too?
isn't really low. It's just not what your mom wants it to be. So let's be clear.
You
No,
need his address?
I got it.
You know where he lives.
No, I got that one already.
You're saying aesthetics, we don't need all the fancy stuff. Let's get to the point, let's get the meat out there.
Let me ask you a question. If the dragon were integrated into the castle, if it were near, so you could climb off the castle onto the dragon, or around the dragon, or through the dragon, or whatever you want to call it, would that help?
Yeah.
So the dragon alone, standing by itself, doesn't mean much to you.
Right.
As a plate thing, it's kind of cool. And if it were integrated where I can kind of crawl off one, go through that, and get back on, but if I gotta get off, go through that by itself, that doesn't hold much attention.
Yeah.
Not saying it's me at all, I'm just asking, I'm trying to understand the question. So it's not that you don't like it, it's that you don't like it all by itself because it's kind of pointless.
Right.
If we're integrated in and we can kind of move from one to the other, then it's kind of cool. Is that a fair statement? All right.
I have the same thing about the dragon, but if you made the dragon like a bridge, it would have more uses instead of like having this one thing that you can only use for one thing. You could make it multiple uses and it would be another thing to like hide or run over.
Good point. We have actually done a dragon head in the past also, which was the hood of a slide. And the head of the dragon becomes part of the structure and sticks out there, and the kids duck under it to slide down a slide. So,
Well, this is big enough for a commissioner to get underneath, we'll be fine.
I heard the point earlier about a zip line. I know we used them in the last couple parks. I didn't put one in here, but I know it would be very, very well received.
You clearly heard the residents demanding it.
Get rid of the dragon.
Get a
The zip line it.
Dragon. Dragon on zip line it.
I think that we should have like more of the acorn things, and then maybe we could put in something that's kind of like the acorn thing, but like closed off, where someone could like sit down and read a book or play on their iPad.
Quiet area.
Yeah.
Acorn seats. Jeff, you're taking notes for me, right?
Yeah, we are.
Acorn seats in a passive area.
So, look, question, zip line. Does a zip line have to be a standalone feature, or can you zip line from play piece to play piece?
You took my,
I knew you were gonna say that, that's why I wanted, now you just have to stand on the microphone and go on, think of something else.
Did you want to repeat that? Here, I can answer.
No,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, no, please.
okay. Hi, Peter Lamberti, 18 Cherokee Road. I think both options are unbelievable. Very fortunate enough to live in this area of Vernon Hills and for parks like this, because I wish when I was growing up, I wish I had parks like this, but no. But one thing I wanted to say was the zip line, maybe coming off a tower, maybe like a 6-foot drop coming down. I understand the 12-foot, maybe too high, but I think would be really cool. Also, I love the options, but I'm trying to picture it when I'm walking down the path. Do you guys know the layout, how it's gonna look? I think, I wanna picture it as I'm walking down the path. What am I gonna see first? Because I'm looking at the paths, I'm trying to figure out how am I gonna see it, or is that not in the designs yet?
Yeah, so I can answer that. As you're coming down, as you're going south down the path now, you see that large array of evergreens, the tall evergreens.
Right.
Okay, and then you've got the kind of rustic fence that surrounds it, and you gotta walk around to get into the entrance. So what they're proposing here is an entry point as you're coming south. We still want to maintain as much of the vegetation around the park, obviously things like with hide and seek and having those elements, but preserving some of the keepsake items that are currently within the play area And those are things that our architect is gonna be trying to work with. And there's kind of this concrete plaza as you come in, and so there'll be a little bit, what you don't have here is, you don't have the architect's viewpoint. You've got a playground manufacturer's input, and that's what you're seeing tonight. And so until we can take this and some concrete designs and get them to the architect tomorrow, early next week, so that when we have our scheduled community meetings in early May and mid-May, we'll be able to present a better perspective of entry point. But one of the key things we want to do is do a better job of signage to get people access when they pull down Cherokee and they enter Deer Path Park. A lot of people, as you guys know, you live here, but most people, and I've seen it countless times, people pull in and they go, where's Kids Castle? Or, because it's a destination park. And so we want to do things where our architect is going to take some of the artifacts, like maybe the dragon, the wood dragon, and put that on a sign. And so as you enter the park, it'll say Kids Castle around the corner. And then maybe take the old fire truck that's on, the firehouse that's on there, take some of that and incorporate that into another sign, Kids Castle 1,000 feet ahead. But I think once you make the turn in the lot, with the size of those structures, with those canopies and flags, I mean, you're gonna see it from a distance, and I think it'll be striking. So give us a few more weeks, and I think you'll have a better idea with the architectural designs. That'll help.
Thank you.
Instead of having those acorn swing things here, you could change it, and there are these basket swings. It's like a circle, and then there's like a basket material on the inside, and that would be like something more fun that you could do than get yourself dizzy and fall.
Well, I kind of think that mostly kind of like this stuff and this stuff is kind of like for littler kids and stuff, and they should add some more bigger kid stuff and some racks so other bigger kids can do parkour or other stuff.
Okay. One question that came up was the height of the zip line. We are restricted on deck height with the zip line. 16 inches off the ground is the maximum we can go. We used to be able to go 28, and 28 was removed about 10 years ago because they got too fiery with it. And but as far as making it a connection and part of the entire modular piece, it doesn't have to be independent. It can be not necessarily connectable, but we can have pieces that come off the back side of the deck of the zip line that lead to the modular piece. So yes, it can be connected in a unique way, but not as a deck directly attached to the modular structure. Again, that's a CPSC, Consumer Product Safety Commission guideline. Just like swings cannot be attached to a structure anymore. They've got to be by themselves. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna say that the zip line, and I don't know the name of the park, but it's like when you're traveling south from Castle Park on the way towards what we call the park at 45. I don't know what the
It's the stone fence.
Right, so across the bridge from Stone Fence, that zip line, that thing is, we love that new park. That park is fantastic, and I like it. You can go from platform to platform, so the kids can do it themselves. So could you do something so that it would be in it without being necessarily attached, but it would allow for pulling?
That's actually the true Zip Cruise, which is the new one we did last year. It is fun with the little toggle seat on it, and even I can hit the end and go 3/4 of the way back.
The kids have a lot of fun because they can actually do it without our help.
That-
They feel kind of.
That comes in a 34, 50, and 66-foot length. Now, they have the old track rides, too, which were the platform to platform, where you had a handle you went across, and those are anywhere from 10 to 18 feet. But the zip cruises are extremely fun.
And those basket swings, Dave, they don't have to be as big as that. We've seen them in other places where they're not quite as big, like the ones at Millennium Park are like for, you could put 6 kids on it, but these ones were like 2 or 3 kids.
Rick, can we start the zip line at your house and just go across the lake? Sounding like it's may expand a little bit.
Getting across the lake's a good idea.
I'm not sure if you are the designer of this one, but there's a swing, I know Jeff and I had talked about this, where the mom sits on one side and the baby's in the other and you go together.
Yeah.
And I had another mom who's gonna join us tonight from the little age, 2-year-old age, and that's something that she wanted to share, is that she'd like to see something where the mom and the baby swing together.
That's a new swing that just came out. It's not ours, but it is available, and it is something that can go on any swing frame. So it could be put on these if they chose to. Yeah.
I think just last thing before we wrap up is just, we are planning on putting a restroom out there next to the playground as well. And not the porta potties that you see out there. So, just, I think you'll see that, again, when we have the architect get more involved in the design and in the layout. And we still want to be, again, just going back, I know I've met with Rick out there with, you know, we're going to preserve some of those pieces that we want to continue to incorporate into the entryway of the park as well. So we'll get more on that. But if I can just say, we have 2 community meetings.
Yes, I was just gonna
Oh, well, go ahead, Amy.
Do you mind?
Yeah,
I was just
sure, go
pulling
ahead.
it up.
So, you know, some people have been emailing me, or I've posted things on Facebook to the Vernon Hills groups about how do I get involved? And for people who are looking to have a voice in this, that May 5th from 6 to 8 at the Deer Path Park, and again on May 16th from 9 to noon at the Deer Path Park. And you should have gotten, are these in mailboxes now? They went out today. Okay, perfect. So today in the mail, you may have received or will be receiving the little park chat invite. So this is an opportunity for the community to come out, have a voice. If there's something that we're missing or something that you think that your kids see as a value to Kids Castle, this is the time to share it. Also, these aren't done deal. This is not a plan that is done yet. We're still in the design process. So seeing this stuff tonight is still very preliminary and rough draft. So knowing as community members you still have a voice, I think is important. And to get it out there and to share it, and people are always welcome to share it with the Park District, share it with me, because it's a community effort. So that was it. Thank you.
Is the intention to put a fence around this? Why? Why?
We talked about that actually, and I asked that to the community, and majority said, we don't really need it. What park in this area has a fence? So to put that money towards putting a fence in, didn't seem like a good resource, and that was something I asked, and sand. Sand was another question I kept asking people. All parks, you know, they have sand, do we need that? No, we don't. Not only do we not want, because currently there is sand there, but with that surface, sand would not work well. So that's out, and people said, don't put up a fence, there's no need for it. It's a way to save ourselves some finances, and they want to be at the park. They want that to be the place kids are playing at, so why do we need it?
Yeah, I agree with you, except in one, what I'd like to see, and I'm not an architect or a designer, there should probably be some sort of separation as you get near the main bicycle path. When you get over on the very west side, next to the swings and whatever, because if somebody is riding their bike, our paths are used by cyclists, so you know they're not zipping along at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but you wouldn't want a kid running out from the swing set into the bike path as somebody goes by at 15 miles an hour on their bike.
So maybe
So
something
there
that
should be probably some sort of separation.
You got the curb, I mean, there is a curb.
Well, but
You're talking
it's not gonna stop a
vegetation.
kid
Yeah, and I think that's what the
Even if
landscape
it's
architect.
bushes or, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
some sort of separation. Doesn't have to be fenced, but something to keep a kid from inadvertently.
That's a good point, just something maybe to guard. protect
Yeah, I mean, the rest of it, a lot of the rest of it's away far enough that it would have to really be somebody running.
Yeah.
But right there at the edge, where the
And I'm
bike path
wondering
is.
if through landscape, bushes could kind of be that guard, because one of the other things I keep hearing is shade. A lot of parents were requesting that shade come into the design, because certain kids burn easily, they don't go to the park in the middle of the day, because they can't, let the kids out in the direct sunlight, but if it was a park that had more shade, they would look into that. So there was talk about sails. Well, we know having the sun sails in Chicago is not an easy thing to maintain, kind of like we have at the pool. But if we could do that through landscape of trees and help build that safety of a child with trees, that could fit two needs.
20 years away from shade.
I was gonna say, the problem is to purchase a tree that has enough shade
Yeah.
would be probably,
Positioning
if
it.
not cost prohibitive, at least more expensive than a fence would be, kind of thing as far as.
3 years, like saying 3 years, you could get good shade if you bought a good sized tree.
My concern is the bikes. Not that any young man would ever ride his bike on this thing, but I got a real concern over that this is gonna become skateboards and bikes, and how does that surface hold up to bikes that aren't supposed to be ridden on?
Bikes won't affect it. I mean,
Bikes will tear it up, and if we catch anybody with bikes, we'll.
depending on the color of it, it will leave tire tracks, but darker color won't be an issue.
Any other questions for Rick? All right, well, I'd like to thank Rick and all of you for coming out tonight and your input, and especially the kids. Thanks, we appreciate it. And we look forward to everybody coming to the meetings, and hopefully we have kind of a little better idea where we're going, and we get some input from other people as well. So thanks again to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can stick around for the rest of the meeting. Definitely now.
The exciting part.
I have a hockey game I gotta go to.
Oh, yeah.
They'd rather be homework than sit the rest of this.
Okay, let's revert back to item number 5, financial reports for the period ending March 31st, 2015. I know Marla's not here, and Jeff, they're all set, correct?
Yes.
All right. Reports and communication, Executive Director Jeff Boudreau.
Okay, so we mentioned the community meetings again, Tuesday, May 5th, 6 to 8 p.m. And this will be in Deer Path Park. And then Saturday, May 16th from 9 a.m. to noon. As Cheryl indicated, we sent a mailer out today to about almost 2,000 households. This is a community park, so we went a little bit further extended than just our neighborhood. We have 2 pulsating questions that are listed on there that we are just trying to activate some feedback. One being if people are interested in continuing to see 6 tennis courts, or would they like to see some additional parking in lieu of 2 of the courts. If we took 2 courts out, we could add about an additional 50 parking stalls within the property there. And then the second question being just about the future intended use of ball fields 1 and 2, which are at the north end of the park around Warrington there. 2 baseball fields, whether or not we would look to remove those and use that space for additional soccer and lacrosse needs. Hopefully we'll get some feedback on that, and Cheryl will have that available for us. In addition, when people come out to those meetings, and we'll try to gather as much feedback and input as we can. We have reached out to the youth affiliate, the community baseball and softball group, and they're going to bring that up at their next board meeting. So we'll see what happens with that. We want to certainly reach out to the Stingers, who potentially might, be using that area as well. Just a reminder, we have a public officials and administrators meeting on May 5th, and that's at 5 p.m. That's actually, I believe that date is wrong. I think that's May 6th, which is a Wednesday. So I apologize in the notes there, but it is. I'm almost certain it's May 6th. We have a scheduled budget hearing, which is on Thursday, May 7th, so 2 weeks from tonight. That'll be a 5:30 hearing here that we're required to do by state statute. You have a couple of items on your agenda tonight. One, a surplus item for some free weight equipment, and a second, just an ordinance adopting future sublet space for our state representative, Carol Sente's district office. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jim? Okay, thanks. Next up, Recreation Superintendent Tom Murray.
Good evening. Been very busy doing a lot of interviews recently. I want to thank Marla, not here, but also Ruth and Gail for helping me in the process. We had between 40 and 50 applicants for the recreation supervisor position that will be overseeing the after-school program this fall, as well as several day camps and some other programs. Marla and I interviewed 7 candidates. We have 2 finalists that will be meeting with the recreation team tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be extending an offer by Monday for someone to start sometime in May. In addition, we've been interviewing site director candidates as well as workers for that same after-school program for this coming fall. And we hope to have several people hired in the very, very near future. Encourage people to mark their calendars for Saturday, June 6th. That will be our annual Kids Fishing Day. Consistently get 50 to 60 people that come out and say nothing but great things. It's a great community event. It's $5 to register. We do encourage you to register in advance because there's only so many fishing poles to go around. But it's 9 a.m. to noon at Century Park, right by the boat dock shelter. It's an orientation to the safety of fishing and how to tie a knot. We keep all that brief and to the point, and then we spend the rest of the time fishing. And the fishermen from the Libertyville Fishing Club do a great job being good mentors and teaching them, again, safety and how to catch fish and how to take them off the hook. And it's a great day. Give away prizes to everybody. It's fun. For the adults out there, this coming Sunday, April 26th, is our deadline to sign up for our adult softball leagues as teams. Last year we had 37 teams playing between men's softball, co-ed softball, as well as co-ed kickball. The season starts the week of May 4th. If people are interested in playing, they can register at the Sullivan Center, pick up a packet of information. Those looking for summer work, as far as camp staff go, we are still looking for counselors, but we're hiring more on an as registration basis. As our enrollment goes up, as summer nears, we can hire more people, obviously to the ratio of the children. So if you're interested, still apply. More aggressively, we're hiring at the Aquatic Center. We're always looking for lifeguards. And of great value is attendants, the pool attendants who tend to be in high school because they're available. The hard part for us to staff is at the end of the season. A lot of kids go back to their team sports, or the college kids go away, and we're still open for a few more weeks. So people that are willing to commit farther into August has great value to us. We do hire close to 200 people in the summer, which we take great pride in. So if there's any interest, you can apply for any of these positions on the Park District's website. Under the About Us tab, there's an Employment Opportunities button. Just one more thing on the 5K run this weekend. Saturday is our 5K run. We have 180 people, more than 180 people enrolled at this point. We're ahead of our pace from last year. I don't know if we'll hit that 220 with the forecast. Maybe we won't get as many walk-ups, but we still are on a good pace for somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 to 225 walkers and runners. So if this is televised in time, come on out and join us. That's followed by our family kite fly. It's a free event, 11 a.m. It's up on the island shelter at Century Park. You can purchase a kite from us for $6 or bring your own. We've had as many as 50 people, I believe, come out to this, depending on the day, the weather. Very passive, very nice, very fun event. I did want to mention one thing, not in my report. It is not our program, but we are being the host site this coming summer for the GLMV and American Cancer Society's Relay for Life event. In previous years, I don't know how many, it's been held at Carmel High School in Mundelein, but they're doing renovation and to their track and their bleachers, I believe that's the reason. They just couldn't commit to promising them the site this year. So Mike and I met with them out at Century Park North, and we've had some great communication, and it will be held at Century Park North on Saturday, June 27th. It's not one of the overnight walks where people walk all night long for the cause. It's from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. We'll make sure to let the residents in the area know as we approach that date, because it's a little bit later than we typically hold events. But we encourage them to come out. They'll put up luminaries on the sled hill and do a lot of great things. They're always looking for teams, people willing to come out, walk, and raise money for the cause. And we're proud to be the host site. Park District's going to try and put a team together as well to help out. So that's my report, unless there's any questions.
Questions for Tom? Great, thanks, Tom. Next up, Park Superintendent Mike Moore.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening, Commissioners. I'd like to begin with our preseason maintenance at the Family Aquatic Center. It's that time of the year when we start prepping for our season at the pool. We began with the cleaning of the interior and painting of the old guardhouse. It was quite run down. Staff's been busy painting it, freshening it up. New emergency and exit sign lights have been installed. We're in the process of installing the sage structure for the lazy river for the guards and people that stand out there waiting to join the lazy river. Spray feature work on the deck has been completed. We're waiting for the delivery of the actual spray features, which will be a direct bolt on to the completed work. All the mission couplings are there, and we just have to bolt them on to the surface of the pool deck, and that's done. Then throughout the facility, again, emergency lights and exit lights. At our parks, as we come into, as winter leaves, our last snow plowing occurred on March 24th. That was a lot of fun. But all our plow equipment's put away, snow blowers are in storage, and been winterized or in storage. Here at the License Center, we assisted with the clearing of old sports equipment down in the basement. All park shelters are open. We de-winterized them, and they were open on April 11th. What Executive Director Fuzier just brought me is a lighthouse that we created in the maintenance garage for placement at the lazy river. Well, this will get bolted in on the island at the lazy river, in some location, more probably where they enter the lazy river and float around. It's about 4 foot tall. It's a lighthouse, as we all can tell. And so I thought it'd be a nice addition to create something unique and interesting at the lazy river. That's, like I said, it was built in-house. It was a lot of fun to put together.
Mike built that on his own time, by himself, yeah, so.
It doesn't have a light in it, you know.
It doesn't work.
Mod 2 will have a light in it. But that's gonna be mine. Taking orders if you want. Okay, where was I? Okay, great. This season with our tree donation and memorial bench program has been very active. Currently right now, excuse me, currently we have 4 memorial benches requested and 4 memorial trees requested. So we're pretty far ahead on that. A lot of people are participating. Rick Croser's our facilitator on that program. Let's see, VHAC and Deer Path Park have been lined for sports fields, soccer and lacrosse fields at Deer Park. Century Park, just before we opened them, Century Park North Pavilion concession room's been painted. All the garden plots at Hartman, Century Park Boat Launch, and Century Park North have been rototilled. In addition to Century Park North, our largest community gardens, we've added 80 yards of compost, mushroom compost. It's been spread on the garden, letting it sit. Garden's still a bit soft from all the rain we've had, but they'll be lightly rototilled in, and then we'll be placing and dividing the community gardens up. We had a little storm damage. We had a bad storm on April 9th, that tornado that went through up by Rochelle. We experienced no damage, but we still had high winds, but the parks we didn't have too much foliage on our trees, so we experienced little to no damage. After those people that use Century Park Little Bear Island Bridge by the boat launch, we had a pretty severe asphalt bridge interface that had dropped. That has been patched in preparation for the fun run, so that's a safe transition on that bridge. again, Rick Croza, stump grindings and repairs are ongoing. It's been a little too moist to go out and stump grind without creating a bigger mess. But as soon as it dries up a little bit more, we're gonna be very, very active with stump grinding and doing a lot of turf repairs. James here to my right has placed the order for fish stocking at Century Park, Little and Big Bear Island, Lake Charles, and Evergreen Lake. And that will take place, James, real soon. Real soon, probably within the next 2 weeks. Some of the specials that we've had at the park maintenance facility, we hosted a Perderma back safety program that 5 districts attended at our maintenance garage. We've done, Matt Schiller performed in-house forklift training. He's our certified trainer. I mentioned about the memorial benches. With Rick Crozier on board, we want to begin doing our prescribed burning throughout the park district. And we're gonna, utilize, I got the permit from Illinois Department of DNR. We find out that through the Perderma, we have to have our own certified burn master to meet the Perderma requirements. Rick Crozier is entering that program right now. It's gonna take 1 year for him to participate in that program to become a certified burn master. And once that takes place, working with the village, and they do a lot of prairie burning, that we will start our prairie burning in various locations throughout the district and follow the protocols set forth by the DNR and also through our safety loss manager, Perderma, Park District Management. They have a lot of caveats on that program. And getting towards the end here, over Sullivan Community Center, we completed our building assessment arranged through WT. Again, Tom here mentioned about a new recreation supervisor. We've done some work on the interior to make room for this new recreation supervisor. And last but not least, it's springtime, so over at the around the Sullivan Community Center and FAC, we've trapped 6 skunks. So I'm sure it's going to get more active. And that concludes my report, and I'll get this out of the way.
Commissioner Dorhoff.
Yeah, Mike, 2
Yes, sir.
questions real quick. You said VHAC and Deer Path all field lights or lining? You're working on
Lining.
lights at Deer Path?
No, sir, we're lining the
Lining,
lacrosse,
okay,
two lacrosse
I
fields.
misunderstood. Memorial Tree and Bench Program.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a master plan on benches in particular so that we don't end up with 4 benches? Because Aunt Mildred used to sit at this bench and now that's already dedicated, but this is where she used to sit, so we want to put one 2 feet away from it because that's the view she wanted. To avoid that, so we
Very
don't
good-
end up with what we got.
Very good point,
elsewhere.
Commissioner Dorhofer. What we've experienced is just that, and it happens at Century Park.
Right.
It's gotten to the point where we have 1 more bench to put in at Century Park, then that's all the benches that will fit in that park. If you're on the east side of Century Park, there are just benches everywhere. On the west side, we have 1 more location, and we're trying to steer them away from Century Park. We have steered one to Lake Charles Park with a bench and a tree. Excuse me.
But that's a great problem to have.
No,
To have
it
that
is.
many people that want to
Absolutely.
support the parks with benches.
Lake Charles is getting a memorial. Hartman Park's getting a memorial program. And the third person is delineating where she wants to go. She's not real sure. She's thinking about Hawthorne Club Park or Hawthorne Melody. I don't know. They're opposite ends of our properties, but she hasn't decided yet. So that's our 4.
As we reach our limit in benches, is there any other park districts other than trees that do any other type of memorial type activities that we can, hey, we can't do a bench here for Aunt Mildred, but you know what? Here are some other options besides a tree and.
Yes, sir. There are multiple ones. One, are the pavers, brick pavers.
And do we have a program for that?
No, sir, we don't.
We doing papers at Deer Path again?
Kids guessing?
Yeah.
All we talked about now is preserving what's there. Those that doesn't donated from the original, that salvaging those, cleaning those all up, and then putting those back in. That's part of where you see some of that white
Yep.
kind of concrete
Okay.
pavered area. That's what we're talking about.
We should.
But it's something we can look into, you know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that would be a good thing for Amy and all of her group to even, try
That's
to
why it
propose
made me
too,
think of
yeah.
it, and we certainly at that
In
point
addition
would
to-
wanna do,
Yeah,
but at the same
Yeah,
time.
no, you're right.
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any more questions for Mike? No. Okay, thanks, Mike. Next up, Communications Manager Cheryl Brown.
Good evening. Staff and myself are beginning to work on our fall brochure and annual report. It will be mailed out the week of July 28th, so still a lot of work to do it, but we're all in it. Our Facebook page now has a banner. It's right in front, and we have begun to put our first image. It is of our Mighty Kids Triathlon. So when you pull it up, you'll see a banner. We'll be changing that continually depending on what's going on at the park district event-wise or other. It looks really nice if you haven't seen it yet. Our community e-newsletter went out to 8,900 subscribers. It had an initial 30% open rate just a few days later. And I know we've talked a lot about our Deer Path master plan meeting, and that was also included in that newsletter. And also was included, I believe, in the school newsletter I sent out. So the word is out for that meeting. Hopefully we'll have a lot of people attend to it. We've also talked about our tree and bench donation program tonight. I did update the pamphlet. I believe I've probably added a good 30 or 35 different types of trees and categories: flowering, evergreen, shade. So there's a lot more trees for people to choose from, and that is on our website and in all of our facilities. What's not included on my report that I just did afterwards, Lakeview Fitness is having a spring promotion. It's purchase a membership and get an additional month free at the end of your membership. So a postcard will be going out very soon. It's already created. The sale is May 15th to the 30th. And it's going out to 30 to 50-year-olds who live in Vernon Hills, Lincolnshire, and Libertyville. So we're trying to reach out past the Vernon Hills community to their targeted market. And that will be going out any day now. We have also cross-marketed on that postcard the Mighty Kids Triathlon. So other people will be reading. That's our first event. So we've done that. Also, on the Pioneer Press, they're having a summer fun guide that will be published May 21st. And those same two promotions, the Mighty Kids Triathlon and the Lakeview Fitness Center Springs promotion for their membership is also going to be in an advertisement on May 21st in there. And that is my report for the evening.
Cheryl, do you know what the Living Social would like a guesstimate of where it's at now?
Yes, I do.
I'm
I
just
looked it up
curious.
today.
That just blows me away.
I
mean,
know.
how many you
We
sold
have,
in 2 days?
It's, as of this morning, we have 1,486 deals sold for gross sales. This is gross sales of 17,940.
The fact that you sold over 1,000 in 2 days is amazing. It obviously,
Well, the reason,
it was pent up interest,
right,
obviously.
well, you know what, the way that works is the deal is, it is like the highlighted deal. So-
Oh, okay,
and then, so,
it drops down
and then it's gonna, right, so now we've sold, we probably won't sell that
Yeah.
many more, because now it's not, when you click on your email, you're not gonna see it. You're gonna have to go look for, it's still live, but you won't see it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Okay, I don't think we have any commissioner or committee reports this evening. No board correspondence. Next up is unfinished business, the district strategic plan for 2015 to 2019. I need a motion to approve the 2015 to 2019 district strategic plan.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Meline,
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhofer,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
President Baloo.
Yes. Okay, next up is the budget appropriation public hearing announcement. Just want to announce that the 2015-2016 budget is on display at the Sullivan Community Center, Lash Community Center, and the Lakeview Fitness Center. In addition, it can be found on our website. The public hearing will take place at the Lashing Community Center on May 7th at 5:30 p.m. Now we have ordinance surplus fitness equipment. So I need a motion to approve ordinance 3-15, an ordinance declaring a surplus and authorizing the sale or other conveyance of surplus personal property of the Vernon Hills Park District, Lake County, Illinois.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Meline,
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhofer,
Yes.
President Baloo.
Yes. Next, I need a motion to approve ordinance 4-15, an ordinance approving sublease with the Illinois House of Representatives by its agent Carol Sente for premises located at 294 Evergreen Drive, Vernon Hills, Illinois, this building.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Robbins?
Oh, can we have discussion on this?
Oh, sorry.
Can we just get it
Yes.
out as to what it is and?
Sure.
So,
Basically, Representative Sente has asked to rent space in this building. We have extra rooms, offices, spaces that are available, and she was looking to relocate to a different location and asked if she could rent space here, and we're offering it up.
so this will be an income for the park district.
This will bring some rental income, yes. We help offset the cost of this building. As you asked.
It's appropriate and hardly unique.
Yeah.
Right, yes, this is not uncommon in many areas in the state, so. So we have a motion, a first and a second, and roll call, please.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhoeffer?
Yes.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
President Bloom?
Yes. Next is the Executive Director Work Plan. I need a motion to approve Executive Director Jeff Fuger's work plan for the fiscal year 2015-16.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhoeffer?
Yes.
President Bloom?
Yes. Next up is the Lakeview Fitness Center service recommendation. I need a motion to award the Lakeview Fitness Center custodial service contract to Crystal Maintenance Services in the base amount of $66,540 and to include tile grout cleaning for $2,300 and carpet cleaning for $2,820.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhoeffer?
Yes.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
President Bloom?
Yes. Then I need a motion to approve the W.W. Granger invoice in the amount of $1,519.61.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhoeffer?
Abstain.
President Bloom?
Yes. Commissioner comments this evening? Commissioner Meline, anything?
Not a thing.
Commissioner Robbins?
Nothing.
Commissioner Dorhoeffer?
Nothing.
All's quiet on the front, except I'd just like to thank the groups that showed up tonight
Absolutely.
to give their input on the playground, and hope that other people will show up to our other two events. Mr. Ruth.
Just in Matt McCourt's absence, I thought I would do him a favor. As Cheryl alluded to, he's doing a new event at the Lakeview Fitness Center this year. On Sunday, May 31st, he's having the Mighty Kids Triathlon. It's a new event right now. I believe he's in the neighborhood of 30 registrants. He can take 100, so for a first-time event, 30 solid with over a month to go. But if you have any kids out there and they're between the ages of 5 and 12, the event involves swimming, biking, and running. And for a 5 to 8-year-old, that's a 25-yard swim, basically the length of a pool, a 1-mile bike, and a half-mile run. And if you're between 9 and 12, it's a 50-yard swim, a 2-mile bike, and a 1-mile run. Great experience for the kids. If they want to sign up for that, there's registration available.
Do they need to have anything? Bikes?
I believe they need to bring their own bike, yeah.
Okay, so it's not gonna be done in the fitness center where you're riding a stationary bike and riding on a treadmill, it's a.
No, the only thing inside is the pool, and then they go out through the park, basically through Deer Path Park is where he's gonna arrange everything, so. He's looking for volunteers too, if people would like to help out. Thanks.
Thank you for that. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Dorhoeffer?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
President Bloom?
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.